Molly McCann, Paddy the Baddy Pimblett, welcome to BT Sport. September the 4th is fast approaching. Been super excited to get down here and see you both. I can see, we've just watched you training then, both in great shape, both obviously raring to go. But before we start the interview, I want to just bring up the last thing that got said before we sat down, and that was, Paddy, where is the Tangle Tees pink hairbrush?
Lad, where's the hairbrush? Because I need to brush my hair, yeah. We share straighteners, hair dryers and hairbrushes.
Not straighteners, like.
Not, well, yeah.
Not that bad, you know what I mean? But I do use a hair dryer, it's needed when your hair's this long.
Mate, of all the promotions, of all the sponsorship deals UFC fighters have had over the years, a Tangle Tees hairbrush between you guys, that's got to be done, surely.
I want a babbleless one, lad. I want one with a heavy hair dryer, lad. Proper heavy one for the gym, so like on Insta stories like that.
Listen, of all the journeys, you guys have been on fight cards before. We'll get into that in a bit, but this one's obviously a bit special because it's the first time this young man is going to be alongside you, walking to the octagon in the UFC. Unfortunately, it's not London, but it is kind of Vegas, which kind of makes it even more special, Mol.
Yeah, well, yeah, I said to him before, it's only hit me every now and then. We're on the same card, and my family sat me down and things before, and everyone in the city knows there's a different like feeling in the air when me and him are on the same card together, because all the girls come to watch me and all the lads are coming to watch him, and like the city just goes off its head. So I've not really focused too much on anything about my camp and just tried to let it all be focused on him, because it's his first time, and it's amazing we're both on it at the same time as well, but I'd rather maybe he had his own, being on it himself, to have his own time to shine. But if he's on before me, he'll set the show ablaze, do you know what I mean? And if I'm on before him, I'll make sure that the changes is pumping and he's ready to go.
Long time coming, Pad, let's be honest. We've been talking about it for a long time. You've been getting ready for a long time. Now you are ready, and that's the most important thing. But to have Molly alongside you on the night, making that journey, even being on the flight over to Vegas, you're both in shape, you know, you're both raring to go. It's got to make it that little bit extra.
Yeah, it is, you know what I mean? Like, we've both fought on the same card before in the Echo Arena, and they've been special, you know what I mean? Fought on the same card, and Molly's won the belt. I think we fought on the same card when I won the belt, you know what I mean? Like last time we fought on the same card, I got a flying triangle and you won a world title.
Do you remember the first time you met Molly? Was it in this gym?
It was in the 051. I walked in. Danny Roberts or Chris Fishgold, we worked in Passion together on Rubber Soul, and they went, come down the gym and move around with Rosie Sexton. And I remember coming into my first session, and I'm sure I sparred with Pad, and I'll never forget, this is when he was a skinhead with like braces, and he mounted me, and I just didn't even know what was going on, and I isolated one arm to try and get up, and I just remember he held it and punched me in the face and went, never isolate one limb, never isolate one limb. I was like, one limb. I was like, all right, lad, yeah. And then I never really did, to be honest. Yeah.
I was a child then, mate.
Obviously, your first impression of Paddy then, from the sounds of it, was that he was already, even as a young age, you know, a whiz on the ground. But what was your first impression of Molly?
Don't say meatballs, lad.
You wasn't even the meatball then, though, was you?
I was working there, though. But...
Yeah, you was just, at first, I knew Molly as a footy player.
Yeah.
She was good at footy.
Played for Liverpool.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's how good she was, lad. She played for the mighty Reds.
That's right.
But yeah, when Molly first come in, like the way she associated me with grappling, she had hands. As she said, the main person in our gym at the time was Rosie, and Rosie was more of a grappler. We didn't really see anyone in the gym like a girl who had good striking. And Molly come in and started putting combos on people, and you were just like, yeah, this is
and then
sick.
getting taken down because they didn't want that smoke.
The super exciting thing about September the 4th is that UK fans especially have been on this journey with both of you for so long. And, you know, you're a pioneer when it comes to women's MMA, the first English woman to win inside the octagon. And, you know, you're literally learning with every fight, getting better with every fight in front of our eyes, where it's been slightly different with you, Paddy. You've held yourself back. You know, when the UFC came to Liverpool, there was nowhere else for Molly to go. She was Cage Warriors champion, and it felt like to get the right competitions, he had to make that leap. And it was always going to be, you know, suffer some defeats, suffer some wins, get there. But with yourself, it's been different because you've starved UK fans of this UFC debut, until you're ready? This is what, the third time they've asked you to join?
Yeah, they asked when I was 21, when I just won the belt. But Cage Warriors give me a crazy new deal. I'm still even now with my debut fight, I got more off Cage Warriors for that next fight than I did for this first UFC fight. You know what I mean? So it just shows you what sort of deal that was, what Cage Warriors give me. And then the second time, obviously, it was in the Echo. I think I had like 5-6 weeks to prepare. I had already booked for my bird's 21st in Mexico at the time. So I thought I decided against fighting on that. I wasn't rushing into it. And now I'm so glad that I did, because over the years, the amount of times, oh, you're never going to get in the UFC, you'll be in the UFC, blah, this, that. Like, for me, it was never a question of if I was going to be in the UFC, it was when. So I never doubted it, you know what I mean? I knew it was always going to come. I knew all I had to do was string 2 wins together or something, finishes, and I'd get signed, and look where we are. Was
there ever a point, Mol, where you kind of thought, don't turn them down again, Pad, it's you know, you've got to make the jump at some stage, or do you agree it's about timing for him personally and being mature enough and ready to maximise his potential at the right time?
I knew in my career there was never going to be a chance where I was allowed to turn down, but Patrick Pimblett makes his own luck and his own fortune and his own fate in life, and whatever he says he's going to do gets done ultimately. Do you know what I mean? So I just look at him and go, all right, lad, yeah, so I'm determined, do you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, did I think, is he going to get there? I don't know, because it was injury, setback. Like, I was like, he's having a, he's having a tough time.
I was having a mare at one point, mate, all them surgeries on my wrists.
I was like thinking in my head, like Dominic Cruz, like don't give up, you got to keep going. We all face our adversity, and he's had his outside the ring through his injuries, through his losses, through doing it all in front of the public eye, but he's grown up and he's a man for it, and he's a much better person for all of that. And I said to him a few times, I've been in the changing room when he's lost the biggest fights of his life, and I've been there when he's won the biggest fights of his life, and I said to him after the last one, I'm so proud of the man you've become, and he's the captain of our ship. Do you know what I mean? I might be the big sister of the gym, but he's the captain of our ship.
How important was Molly and other members of this gym, especially when you did have that injury, which you just didn't seem to be able to shake for such a long time? And there was that, even I was getting questioned, people saying, Paddy's blew it, hasn't he? Should have gone to UFC when he had the chance. And I was like, this injury, it can't go on forever. But psychologically, was the dark times for you when there was people like Molly that kind of kept you going?
Yeah, as you say, psychologically, obviously when I lost the world title fight in the Echo, when if my hand weren't cabbaged, I would have finished that rear naked choke. That was when I got into my deepest, darkest time, because I'd had surgery 3 months before the fight. I got told not to fight, but back then I was a stupid, immature kid and I didn't listen to anyone. I got told to pull out by my family, everyone in the gym, my friends, all my coaches, doctors, all told me to pull out, but I said no. I went into the fight, still went 5-5s, but in hindsight now I shouldn't have done that fight, because I broke my hand again immediately in the second round, and I had to sit out for another 6-7 months and wait for another surgery and get another surgery. I never ended up fighting for 18 months. And then that was where I hit my deepest, darkest time, know what I mean? That was where, like, if it weren't for people in the gym, my mates, my missus, my family, I don't even know if I'd still be here, know what I mean?
You found, like, your true mates in that time, though,
I did, because before that, when I won the featherweight belt and that, I was going out partying all the time. I wasn't living the MMA life, I was living the life, know what I mean? Like what's happened with Conor. I was living the life and not the fighting life. And I say this to people quite a lot, like after I lost the back, for about 3 or 4 months, my bird would get up and go to work, give me a kiss, say see you later, and usually I'd just roll back over and go to sleep. In that few months, I'd sit up and I'd cry to myself for like half an hour, 40 minutes, just thinking, wow, I've ruined everything. I'm never going to be this, I'm never going to do that, I'm never going to do this. And then it was everyone around me what got me through it, you know what I mean? Like, I always say to people, you've got to talk about your problems, because I never for months, and it ate away at me for months. And then when I started to speak to the people who cared about me, and not worrying about what they thought, that's when everything started to get better. That's when I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. That's when I got back in the gym and started training, and realised my actual potential. I stopped thinking I was better than I was and realised that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
How proud are you, as someone who's close to Paddy, seeing him mature into the person he is now, compared to that kid with the skinhead and the braces on and the loudmouth kid from Next Gen that would pop up at shows and armbar people and flying triangle people, but he looked like a kid for so long, whereas now you look at Paddy and he's a man now, he's fully mature now, and mentally he's ready to take on the world.
It's like, I said to him, I said, you have to step up, don't you, with the UFC? Like, you don't think that you can step up, and then you do. And he was like, no, like, you're training, like, you just subconsciously don't realise, but there are more elements that you have to take more serious. Like, Paddy Pimblett lives for a whoop band, every calorie in, every calorie out. Going back a few years ago, you're not having that.
No.
The stuff he's doing outside the camp, the extra sessions he puts in, he's always grafted, but it would normally be like back in the day, in the old days, be just about getting the weight off.
Exactly, that's what fight camps used to be for me.
Because he was getting told he had to make weight.
As I always use this one as an example, when I found out I was fighting Julian Rosa, I was in a cave in Wales with Dex and a Jenny, having the time of my life, partying, eating food and doing stuff I shouldn't have been doing. And someone rang me, like, lad, you're fighting that Julian Rosa, aren't you, lad? I was like, am I? Yeah. Like, lad, the cage, just being on the cage, he's there, you and Fishy are fighting people off the Ultimate Fighter. I was like, oh yeah, sound that, lad. Weighed myself on the Monday morning, lad. Weighed myself on the Monday morning, I was 84 kilo. And in 26 days, I had to be 66 kilo. You know what I mean? And people wonder why I spewed up in the cage after the fight.
It wasn't the Ferrero Rocher then.
It was Ferrero Rocher, not chocolate, but as well as a terrible weight cut. Cutting 18 pound overnight is just disgusting. And that's like where, over the years, I've turned into a professional and I have matured and I've had to.
What advice have you got to him, having been on the big stage in his hometown in front of a capacity crowd, compared to making the walk maybe in Vegas behind closed doors? What advice have you got for him?
When you're in your UFC debut, the UFC is the UFC nerves is a major thing. Do you know what I mean? So you've just got to go. And his dad, in one of his fights, I always remember after he was in the changing room, and his dad said to me, "We're Scousers, some of the best people in the world." And before I went for my world title, he looked at me, won his fight, he went, "Well, we're Scousers, we're the best people in the world, the hardest people in the world." And I'll just reiterate that before he goes out to his fight, lad, we are hardest people in the world. We don't take a step back and we keep coming, and he's going to go in there and do the business, do you know what I mean? And I feel as if there might be pressure, but we don't ever let no one see that, do you know what I mean? We just deal with it in the way that we know how, and that's screaming in the cage, letting that emotion out, staring down. He's the baddie and I'm the meatball, and we always say, like, we know how to switch when the door closes and we've got our eyes locked into that person.
I feel like I zone out when I get in there and I look at my opponent and I'm staring and I'm genuinely thinking I'm going to try and take your head clean off your shoulders now, lad, or take your neck home with me. You know what I mean? That's what goes through my head. And like, I just don't think, no, I have a crazy mindset, lad, and I'd die in that cage. And it doesn't matter where it is, Vegas, Liverpool, Madison Square Garden.
The car park.
Yeah. There's no quit in me, and I'll show that. Well, I won't even get to show that because I'm going to finish him in about 2 minutes, but over the years I'm going to show that.